First and foremost, I want to say this. What happened in Atlanta was atrocious. It was ridiculous. I definitely know that it was a hate crime. He had no reason, no justifiable reason to go inside Asian parlors and kill people. No reason whatsoever. There's no reason on earth that he can justify what he did. And I must say, man, we need to put an end to murder, period, to killings, period. I just don't understand why humans can't get along. I just don't get it. I don't understand how a person can hate the color of a person's skin or lack of. I just don't understand how a person can hate a person that makes money or that doesn't have any money. I just don't get it. Maybe it's the tree hugger in me. Maybe it's me being a vegetarian. I don't know. But I do understand one thing about myself. I have an on and an off switch. The off switch stays off at all times, and if need be, is to protect myself. I keep that off unless somebody tries to harm me. The on switch, I keep that on 24/7, 365 days of the week. And that is just being the kind and sincere person that I am. That's the choice that I've made in life, to want to care about people and suppress that person that can be violent, only if need be, when protecting and defending myself. And it's obvious that there's a lot of people that's walking around here with psychological problems, and we need to treat these people. And I'm not talking about that guy in specific. I'm just saying overall. This is crazy. This is crazy, but I can't help while people, are saying hashtag stop Asian hate, while the president, Sleepy Joe Biden, is lowering his flag half-staff and saying that we need to end Asian hate, I can't help but think about how black people are still saying that Black Lives Matter, while the world is saying we need to end Asian hate. Not we need to end black hate, we need to end Asian hate. But black people are still fighting for our lives to be matter. And it doesn't make sense to me. And in specific, I hate it when people say this. Well, look how you treat one another. Black people killing black people, and you until you start respecting yourself, then that's just a justifiable reason for you to harm and kill black people. Let me use this example. If I were crazy, right, and I went to court and the judge said, hey, you're crazy, and they took me to a mental institution, right, and I was banging my head on the wall, right, would they A, put me in a strap jacket so I couldn't move, and put a helmet on my head and put me in a padded room so I can't bang my head anymore? Or B, would they walk in the room and bash my head on the wall like I was doing? They would definitely choose A. So my point in making is that that black people have psychological problems. That we're going through a lot of stuff. So why would you mistreat us, even though I understand we're mistreating ourselves, but I'm telling you that we're dealing with a lot of emotional, mental, psychological stress. And at the end of the day, if you are the most so-called civilized people on the planet, then why would you try to suppress, disrespect, murder, and kill people that are so-called uncivilized? Wouldn't you try to civilize them? Wouldn't that make sense? Let's move on. In our black community, right, I can honestly say, in the hood, the white person is not our problem. I mean, of course, infrastructure, systemic racism, from the outside looking in. And he's indirectly affecting us, but he's not directly affecting us in our community. The people that's directly affecting us in our community and taking the money out of our community are East Indians with their beauty supply stores, with their corner stores, East Arabs with their corner stores, and last but not least, Asians with their nail salons, beauty supply stores, Chinese food restaurants, and massage parlors. And it's crazy to me that Asians could get away with some of the most foul shit in our community while we can't get away with nothing in our community. Like, I'll give you an example. When you look at Chinatown, right? Go to Canal Street. They have some of the most knockoff shit that you could ever imagine. All knockoffs are by American or European designers, such as glasses, pocketbooks, Jordan sneakers. You can get some of everything on Canal Street that you can imagine, bootleg wise, right? But now when you go to 125th, you can't find anybody that's on the strip to buy any type of bootleg shit, because they clean that shit and gentrify that shit the fuck up. When you go downtown Brooklyn, it's the same thing. When you go down Jamaica Avenue, it surprised the shit out of me. How the hell did y'all get a Chipotle, a Burlington Coat Factory there? But this is our community, and this is what happens to us in comparison to what the Asians are doing in Canal Street, on Canal Street in Chinatown. They know a lot of people. New York knows what goes on in Chinatown. It ain't just bootleg movies and CDs and pocketbooks and glasses and all of that stuff. It's more than that. But they get away with that. They can get away with that shit. They can get away with going in our communities and taking our dollar bill out. Let me ask you a question. How many Asians or Koreans, Japanese, Chinese, how many Asians have you sent to college? I'll raise my hand. I know I've sent off quite a few, because I used to eat Chinese food every day when I was in New York. And that money is not going back into the community. It's going out of the community. And Asians don't give a damn about us. I know that. So why are we fighting the fight? I'm not saying what happened to them is not wrong. I'm saying it's wrong. I'm just telling you that I've never seen an Asian or East Indian or Arab in any type of marches or protests. Anyone. But you'll see them in our community taking our money. See, y'all seem to forget back in the 90s, what was her name? Latasha Harris was buying an orange juice, right? Korean thought she was stealing. While she was trying to pay for the orange juice, the Korean shot her in the back and killed her. She was nothing but 15 years old. And you know what that Korean got? Probation. You know how many fucking people, black people that is, have been harassed? This happened like a year or two ago in Charlotte. Right up in Wilkinson, I think it was either Wilkinson Boulevard or Freedom Road, where a Korean man beat the shit out of a black woman. They come into our communities. Not only do they harass us, but they tell us to hurry up and get out in order. Here we are sending their children to school, to college. Here we are supporting their household. I bought that car that you own in your driveway. I bought that house that you own. Because I took my girls to your nail salon. I ate your Chinese food. We bought grease, combs, and all perms and relax, all of that stuff in your beauty supply store, and weaves. But this is the gratitude that we get. Hurry up and buy. And this is the reason why my hands are off. My hands are off when it comes to supporting this hashtag Stop Asian Hate. The minute that you stop hating black people, that's the minute that I'll support your campaign. And you know this. East Indians and Chinese Asians and East Arabs are some of the most racist people towards black people. You know this. You know this. You want our culture though. You want our culture, right? The breakdancing, right? I remember. We walked away from breakdancers. We no longer, deal with it. But what did y'all do? Y'all culturally appropriated it. So now, when you look at breakdancing, it's nothing but gymnastics and what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't. It's gymnastics. Aerobatics. That's it. We had soul to it. But y'all just turned it into something different. Y'all love us so much. I see the Chinese kids growing dreads and rhyming and all the rest of that stuff. You love our culture just like the white man, but you don't love us, which bugs me out. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Listen to this story, then you'll truly understand where I'm coming from. I remember I used to sell bootleg movies and CDs at this shopping area, right? On the left hand side, on behind me, on the left hand side was the Chinese food restaurant. The right hand side was the beauty supply store. The Korean owned the beauty supply store, and a Chinese family owned. Excuse me, let me take it back. Yes, a Chinese family owned a Chinese food restaurant, but the family that was working in there weren't the ones that owned it. They just ran it, right? So I peeped game. Throughout the years, I would see new Chinese people come in, but it was part of their family that worked there, right? And it dawned on me. I'm like, okay, I've seen documentaries and I've listened to their conversation in English when they were speaking English, and I just overheard things. So what they were doing is they were importing poor Chinese people to the States to work at this Chinese food restaurant that I was in front of, and they had their green cards, right? Once they were able to support themselves and venture out into the United States, then they left out. Eventually, that same family that worked, for this Chinese family that owned the Chinese food restaurant, eventually they wind up owning the Chinese food restaurant. But that was after the course of a couple of years of them bringing in their families. Now, think about this. When you go to a real Chinese food restaurant, right? What did they serve you as an appetizer? Noodles and soup. Do you get that as an appetizer in a regular Chinese food restaurant? I'm talking about in the hood. Do they even want you to sit inside their restaurant? No, it's take in and take out. Get the hell out. Order and get the hell out. They also give you tea. And when you go to a real Chinese food restaurant, not only do they give you tea, but they give you a different menu. So much different from the hood Chinese food restaurants. I'm making a point here, right? So I saw that there was a difference when I went to the real Chinese food restaurant in comparison to a Chinese food restaurant that was in the hood. And after listening to these guys' conversations and how they was just bringing in their family members and giving them green cards, and how they had a system going, right? It dawned on me, most of these people that worked in the Chinese food restaurant were people that were dirt fucking poor. They lived on boats, right? So when they lived on boats and they were dirt fucking poor, the only thing that they could do was cook. And they would catch their fish. Not only would they catch their fish, but they would catch stragglers in order to eat. And guess what those stragglers were? The cat and the dog. You see, the APCSPCA or whatever that shit is, that Animal Protection Agency, they don't come hard on pause. They don't come down hard on the Chinese food restaurant. But that's what they're serving to our community. Cat and dog, and everybody knows that. But don't nobody have a problem with serving to black people. None at all. It goes overlooked. And this is the point that I'm making. I feel as though that I'm making a valid point because people want us, black people, the black community, to support hashtag Stop Asian Hate, while we are getting killed way more than they are. But I don't see no Asians on the front line when it comes to us protesting. I don't see the East Indians, the Arabs, none of them. So why should I care when they don't? Why should I care when they are, sometimes they're more racist than white people? I mean, seriously, East Indians definitely are most racist. I sat down and talked with one, and he agreed. He said, yo, we are the most racist towards black people than you can ever imagine. And we were taught that. See, this is what's so crazy. I have a mind of my own, and I would never judge a handful of people in one race and say the whole race is bad. But you dumb idiots will. You dumb idiots, you East Indians that are in Silicon Valley, that's in IT, some of the smartest people, but some of the dumbest people when it comes to racism, because you definitely got to be a dumbass to be a racist. Some of you Asians that are like highly advanced when it comes to math, you are like supreme mathematicians, but you are highly stupid when it comes to racism. That you can actually believe that the black race hasn't done shit, and that is your ignorance. So guess what? You do that shit on your own. You on your own until you support my campaign and what I'm going through as a black person. I won't support yours. That plain and simple. I'm not saying what happened wasn't a bad thing, because it was. But at the end of the day, you don't help me out, I ain't helping you out. You don't care about me, I don't give a fuck about you. Get the fuck out of my community. Stop taking my money out of my community. And if you do take my money out of my community, give back. Give back. You see what's going on in our community? Why don't you give back? Look how we have supported you and your family. You have lived off of the black dollar for years. Your every generation has. You've passed down that goddamn bodega, that corner store, that beauty supply store, that Chinese food restaurant, that massage parlor, that nail salon, from generation to generation to generation, and ain't gave us shit.